I I appreciate it more than you can imagine. I hope I hope you enjoy what I'm presenting, even if just a little bit. Go ahead, Shreya.
Hi everyone, I'm Shruti. I'm also a student at SIU uh, and I'm in the MFA program. I'm a filmmaker and a puppeteer. I've been friends with Bushra, I think, ever since I got here. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Just a couple of house rules: if you all can put your phones on silent because it's a smaller, quiet space. And I just want to say a little bit about Bushra. Bushra is, he's been in Carbondale for about 6 years. He did his master's here and now he's in his final year of the PhD in civil engineering, but he also writes poetry. And he's been writing for about 12 years, and his previous book called Hills Along the Road came out in 2016. And The Human Experience is another book that he wrote about a year back, and that's the one that he's going to be reading from today. It's a very personal reflection, and he's very, very interested in music, and he loves holding musical gatherings at his home where we listen to a lot of great records. And he wanted me to say this, that he supports Football Club Barcelona. Yes, this is very important for him to share. And we have his roommate, Gabriel Pereira, who's from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And he's recently arrived in SIU. He's in the music department. He just arrived this fall and he's moved in with Bushra. And yeah, he's going to be playing alongside with Bushra today. Thank you everyone for being here. After we're done with the reading, we'll also be selling the book and Bushra will be signing it. So thank you so much for being here.
One thing before I start, we have in attendance a very, very close role model of mine in Bill. And he mentioned that he wanted to say a few words. If the floor is yours.
Since you sit here.
I'll give you some space.
One of the things that he has a model, according to me, is hair. I'm minus and he's plus. So I only want to take a few minutes. I've got some serious physical problems and I'm not going to be able to stay long. And that's why I wanted to say something quickly. I've read most of his work, and my background, I'm a retired professor at the Air Force Academy, and I wrote the Presidential Commission report on the Challenger accident. That's what this is. I was on White House staff with Reagan. I worked with Neil Armstrong and Chuck Yeager and Satterwright and those folks, and I wrote speeches for Bush II and others in government. I've got a little bit of experience. I'm still learning. He's saying that he's learning from me, but that's kind of a reversal of things. I like to hear what he says and what he does. And he's doing a good job, and he's progressing, he's learning, and I wanted to make sure that I said that because a little rough at the beginning, some of his writing, but we fixed a lot of that. And I wanted to present a book to him that I think will be helpful to him. This is called Write Like Hemingway. And in it, on this particular page, he says, find what gave you the emotion, what the action was that gave you the excitement, and then write it down, making it clear so that readers or a reader will see it too and have the same feelings that you have. Now, I write poetry, but I write haiku, westernized Japanese haiku poetry, and I teach executives and have taught executives to write 575. All of you probably know what haiku is, but they don't, and they certainly don't know how to write simply and with power, and that's what this book is about. An example of that is something that it's urban legend, but it's about Ernest Hemingway. He was sitting in a bar with a bunch of his friends, and they all decided to have pressure him a little bit and have a contest, and it was can you write anything in 10 words? Can you write a story in 10 words? And he said, yeah, and he laid down $50. And so everybody else had to then lay down $50 because he had challenged them instead of the other way around. And this is what he came up with, and this may still be an urban legend, but it's one of the most powerful things that you could read, and it could have many meanings, but he intended it to mean a tragedy that you can probably imagine. But here it is, 10 words or less, is what he said. For sale, baby shoes, never worn.
Oh.
That was his winning bet, by the way. This book is an exceptional book, tells you everything about him from his days in Kansas City when he was on the Kansas City Star staff and through, sadly, his surmise. But this is for you,
Oh, thank you.
and I want you to
Thank you.
have it.
Yeah.
And
it's
what we would like to do, I've got Parkinson's and I'm having a particular attack today, so what we're going to do is we're going to get up and we're going to move out there and stand, and somebody else can come in here and be closer to you if that's okay.
You
But I
prefer
wanted
to
tell you,
stand over sitting?
we'll find a place. You
Thank you.
you have great talent.
No, not really, but thank you.
You've got great talents. You've
No,
also
no.
got rough edges, but you know, when the talent and the rough edges come together, you've got a great future.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
That's all. I want to waste your time. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Gotta get out.
We all have rough edges.
How's he gonna get out? I'll just hold this.
Oh, okay. I'm going to stand right here. Thank you. Appreciate it.
It'd be funnier if you said that right here.
Sorry, before Bushra starts, I also wanted to say thank you so much to Confluence Books for helping us organize this. To Sarah and Kathy and to Farrell, thank you so much for letting us spotlight the voices of international students here at SIU in Carbondale.
We're just very glad you're all here, and we hope that you go and communicate with your friends, anyone else who wants to do something like this, who has some work ready for it. We'd love to do more of this.
Thank you. Okay, over to you, Bushra.
I'll get right through it.
There's space in front if
There's-
anybody wants to
There's
sit.
chairs up here. There's 2 chairs. If you guys want to come up here.
The lady with the baby. That was fine. Let her get the baby.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay, so I'll go through with it. And the way I organized it was that we'll have a third, or let's say 40% portion, and then a small intermission. But the intermission, just so we don't go and come back in the space and rearrange stuff, will be sort of a Q&A. I'd be receiving your questions, your comments, and I would adhere to them. Then we do another 40%, and then another one of these little Q&A, like 5-10 minutes, and then the last 20%. And afterwards, I'd be happy just to talk to you, sign your books if you want. The book is separated into chapters. We have 9 chapters, and each one I started with a quote that I think befits the subject. So I'm gonna read the quotes and then some pieces from the chapter, and on we go. The first chapter is called The Book of Purpose, and for that I quoted Nietzsche, and he said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow." I start with the poem called Opening, which is the opening of the book as well. The day is rapidly disappearing in disarray, paving the way onward and in turn opening its arms wide, greeting the imminent night. Through the sea of bewilderment, I ask, please, I ask for some ease, and my hour of little inspiration is spent fast. Why a massive creation in grand design, and a lowly soul intertwine, and a lot of space and little time fit together just fine. For the fleeting quest and its delivered sign, many of us live, and all of us eventually resign. For the people who came earlier on, this is gonna be the one we used for the sound check. It's called Happiness. Happiness sneaks in, happiness escapes out. No display showcases the pungent spectacle, but at hours sublime, in non-distinct time, it overcomes the absurdity of awareness, relieves the stress, pours the cleansing droplets of excited jubilation. I suppress my inspiration to a resolute epiphany. A laugh, a genuine laugh at a random remark is happiness. And when that happens, Kurt says, notice it and express it in an exclamation or a murmur. The Kurt I referred to is the author Kurt Vonnegut, and one of his most iconic quotes is that he says, I urge you to please notice when you are happy and exclaim and murmur or think at some point, if this isn't nice, I don't know what is. And now I'm feeling, if this isn't nice, I don't know what is. Ooh, so the last one I'm showcasing from this chapter is called Divine Intervention, and it's through my still growing pursuit of purpose, in a sense. Divine Intervention. Man found his way into land, and then he looked up for his undeclared answers. And as he came across the fire, its sparkling glare felt warm, and he bowed down before the upcoming rain. No ease befallen man's purpose. Abraham's moon and sun filled the innate calling, speaking outward. And God kept on sending messengers before going silent. Maybe he does not care that much. And I, along an unsophisticated extension, still feel the initial intimate calling, pulling me like gravity, as the singularity of existence still rings inconceivable. Thank you. Yeah, it's a process. It's an ongoing process. We go to the second chapter, the Book of Extremes, and I love the quote I found for this chapter. It's just really well crafted. It's Walt Kelly. He says, "Now really, how arch can you be when you march with a sword, with a spear? You belong to a curious team. You're in the extreme, maybe left, maybe right, maybe wrong." So I'm gonna read
Is that Walt Kelly of Pogo fame?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go for a poem called War, and it's not my first poem in war, but between this and the one in my first published collection, there's a huge difference. Here I just tried to make it as simple as possible, just articulate. Not the impact should come from the simplicity itself. Okay, that's. Two soldiers in a trench. Two soldiers and fire. Heed the call of death. What will this simplification inspire? And after all that has to transpire, the two soldiers head home. One without a leg, and the other dead. Okay. Okay, let's do another one from this chapter here. This one is called The Gifted, and yeah, when I thought of gifted people, gifted writers, gifted musicians, gifted football players, there's a threshold where you can't act as if, oh, if I work really hard, I can be like that. If I was born in another country, I can. No, there's a threshold where beyond which, in my opinion, talent becomes so apparent and so out of reach. So yeah, this poem is gifted for those. Okay, The Gifted. The subtle goes extreme in an alley. Out of the burning observance a fire. Foster it well, for through its spectacular eruption, we have the few pieces of art that transcend time, and the science that revolutionizes the norms. Blessed be the genius, for in their gift, their burden, and it weighs heavy, but it propels the lively wheel forward. Deliver us into an awe before the upcoming standstill. Next couple are going to be in the Book of Subtleties, and then we'll have our first intermission, Q&A. I'll try to go through this quickly. I love this quote. For the Book of Subtleties, I quoted Aldous Huxley, the famed author who wrote Brave New World, and he was a big part of my teenage years. I recently read this, and it immediately struck a chord in me. He said, it's dark because you're trying too hard. Lightly, child, lightly. Learn to do everything lightly. Yes, feel lightly, even though you feel deeply. Just lightly let things happen and lightly cope with them. There are quicksands all about you, sucking at your feet, trying to suck you down into fear and self-pity and despair. That's why you must walk so lightly. Lightly, my darling, on tiptoes, and no luggage, not even a sponge bag, completely unencumbered. The first piece I'm gonna recite from that is called Lonesome. I face my night and day. The company fails to save me from my lonesome detachment. Alone I am at the peak hour of my inspiration, when an hour translates into a page, and a prayer flows sincere, as the mind, melancholic, unclear, seeks flight out of here. And I hold on to those who are dear, for they save me from the bottomless pit. last one before we take a breather is from the same chapter. It's called Spirituality. My spirit, cornered by the pace of the mundane, faces the strong absurd. Then I see, in the many interpretations, a warm longing beyond. And the heart dictates to the mind a simple resolution: be kind. And through no proof, I perceive my divine sign. Hey guys, yeah, thank you very much again for coming, for being a part of this. It means a lot to me. I'm gonna take a breather, taking your questions, your comments, anything and everything, basically.
How did you start writing?
About 12 years ago. Yeah, I was back home, and it's funny. I mentioned this story to a couple of people. I was in a depressive state, but I was sitting in the living room along with my dad, and I was holding my iPad and I put it in something, the first poem, and I showed it to him. He's the guy who's been influential in my developing my English and then developing my reading habits in general. And he was like, okay, that may be something. And for the next year or so, I liked it, but every time I brought him something, he would be like, read more, you need to read more. But it started from there, and it's been a long journey. Now I tell them that I think of it as the thing that defines me the most, the thing I really can't live without. I'm an engineer, I'm doing a degree in engineering, but I like to think that I'm a poet first and an engineer second, you know.
Did you learn anything new about yourself from writing?
That's a very good question and a very hard question. It's usually the other way, but the quick answer would be yes. Sometimes I would have vague ideas, unprocessed thoughts that I don't know what to make of. And once I write it, once it's there, I'm relieved and I can think about it more logically. Like, okay, this is what I think about this. This is what I think about that. This I can know someday. This I will never know. Stuff like that. So, but usually the expression comes after the asking of the questions. Yeah.
Is there anything you learned about yourself from doing all this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It showed me just how soft I can really be, and at the same time how nostalgic it will always be. That's the sense that I got from writing, actually. At any point of my life, I always yearned for the past a little bit. Now I'm yearning for the past, and I know now, because of the evidence, that in the future I'm gonna be yearning about these days, talking, oh, when I was in Carbondale, life was so sweet. Yes? I don't know, you also state your name first before asking.
Oh god. My name is Abru, and I'm also an international student, and what I want to know is writing in a different language, especially something so intimate like poetry. how does it, like, when do you write in your own language? Like, how does it compare to English? Is it more intimate with English? Is it hard to explain it? Like, how's that process working for you?
This is a very interesting question. I write mostly in English. I don't write much in my native Arabic. Not on purpose though. It happened that way. I found that expressing with English came easier and smoother for the first part. But it has brought me some trouble because at time people, when I was back home, for example, it was either, oh wow, you write in English, or like, why don't you write in Arabic? You don't like your language or something. So yeah, I have the reply that, does it really matter? I tell people, if the expression is out, doesn't really matter in which language it comes out. I've had.
Sorry, I was gonna say, like, do you think with English, like learning English, do you think that almost like initiated your writing process, or would you
Not
say-
really. No. It just happened generically,
Mhm.
and then with time I noticed that I would feel like feel it's easier to express in English, and then it moves from there. And it's not exclusive. It ran in the family. I have an uncle who, may he rest in peace. He wrote in Arabic, English, and French, and it brings me sadness that I did not realize all of this as a kid before he departed. But yeah, it wasn't a unique activity on my behalf, but it happened generically. Yeah.
Do you have favorite poets?
Huh?
Do you have favorite poets that you read?
I do. I love Matthew Arnold, who's an 1800 something, not 19th century poet. Very, very, very powerful. His command in the language is extraordinary. I like some Persian poets. I like Hafiz and Rumi. And incidentally, I read a lot of Arabic poetry, so I love some people who write Arabic as well. Amel Dungul and Al-Fayturi. It would be an interesting project for the Arabic poets to kind of try and do an artistic translation sometime. Yeah. For the English ones, I like, from the more recent ones, I like Bukowski, although he's very, very controversial. Like Edgar Allan Poe, his tempo, the list goes on. The quote I found, although not as melodic as his usually, but it's very well articulated. Shakespeare says, "Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none, be able for thine enemy rather in power than use, and keep thy friend under thy own life's key. Be checked for silence, but never taxed for speech." This is really articulate. So the first poem I'm going to recite is called Unconditional. In my set sail, I failed to seek a higher calling than the unconditional, a feeling that stands the stretch of life, appalling abyss, abundant but untrue. My mother and my daughter, if I should perish, let it be known that you came very close in your dear love, before the subsequent failure. written in faint font. For even the Almighty does not love unconditionally. It's a truly troubling realization. I hope I have a different opinion in some time, but it's yeah. So the next one is called Beauty. Yeah, and it's sort of a letter kind of a poem. A letter to the abyss. Beauty. Fair soul standing on shapely legs, and a smile that takes my breath away. Her movement echoes harmonious melodies to which I fail to tailor a befitting allay. The mere thought of her presence riles the docks at my bay, for she is the sun of each day, glaring fearless ray after ray, and I, an observer without reprieve, find a destination without finding a way. The next two I'm gonna do right after. They're basically a tribute. One is called Mothers, and a tribute to my mother, and one is called Fathers, and it's a tribute to my father. And I was kind of debating whether I should include these, but the director, Shruti, yeah, she said, no, the personal, you have to put them in the program. The Mothers, a tribute to my mother, Layla. Humbled along the bridge, humbled atop my tower, if I am to conquer the whole world, I cannot outgrow my mother. My home, my eternal flower, take my kid to the shower, and for dinner, cook me your flour, and the seasons shall pass, both binding and sour, but to you I am tied throughout the timeless hour. You will notice a change in style between the tribute to my mom and the upcoming one to my dad. In my mom's poem, it just flowed. It's just the way I think about it is just pure love. It's something really wonderful. In that, it's more put into action. He's more direct. I think of him as a role model, but with my mother, she's like this unreachable state, a phenomena that I can't really, I can't really articulate. So far, there's a tribute to my dad, Saleh. Wrapped in translucent honesty of direct exercise, with love so abundant, never held, my mentor, my provider, and my best friend, I pray you witness in us your proven totality and extended success. We go to Book of Home. And as Pascal Mercier says, we leave something of ourselves behind when we leave a place. We stay there even though we go away. And there are things in us that we can find again only by going back there. It's called security. Then we gathered in the after meridian at utter peace. Still we were bothered by the injustices seen, but we lived secure under the bleak night. Who among us lost sleep over due rent? Who of us knew what his blessings meant? This is called Departure. It's about coming here, basically. In a day came the rain, weepy in an airplane, headed to my future. I crossed the Atlantic for a dream. New homes like old hug you tight, but I still miss my roots. They are responsible for my core attributes. And now, long away, the roots are in disarray, and the heart only grows fonder. The next one, and then we'll have another breather, is called, the next chapter, it's called The Book of the Deceased. The first two are conceptual, they talk of loss, and then the next two are tributes to people I lost. One person was my grandmother, and I'm gonna talk when I get to that poem, and the other is a guy who used to come to her house to help her cook things, and she passed away, and then a little afterwards he passed away also. For the quote, I never seen an articulation of the feeling of losing someone like this one. It's a quote by Luminous Nicket, and he says, "It is a curious thing, the death of a loved one. We all know that our time in this world is limited, and that eventually all of us will end up underneath some sheet, never to wake up. And yet, it is always a surprise when it happens to someone we know. It is like walking up the stairs to your bedroom in the dark and thinking there is one more stair than there is. Your foot falls down through the air, and there's a sickly moment of dark surprise as you try and readjust the way you thought of things." This is called Eulogy. They gathered at my funeral. Mother wept, so did father. Before my expiration translated into backgrounds of practicality, and time washed over my pain. Thank goodness we forget. The tombstones speak to me, and in turn I pay my respects. Such a striking contemplation that every dug hole encompasses its unique deliberation, spanned and spent. And as I mourn my present, it serves pleasant in its totality. How peaceful things seem to be at the other end, for one makes amends with his eventuality. These are our eulogy and cemetery. Now we're gonna go to Mama Anwar, who's my grandmother on my mother's side. May she rest in peace. I dedicated the whole collection to her. She used to be the prominent figure in the family on both sides actually. My dad is a part of that side as well, and she meant especially so much because I'm the youngest in my family, and my dad was young in his family. So by the time I came to be, both grandfathers were already gone. My grandmother from my father's side was gone. So this one I got to live with and to see how she managed to enjoy her generation and her children's generation, her grandchildren's generation, her great grandchildren's generation. It was really something, and I say this, I still remember when she passed. I was on campus actually, and I had an exam, and my brother texted me. He was like, "Did you have your exam?" "Yeah." I was like, "I'm going into it." "Okay, call me afterwards." And then I called him, and they told me the idea that kept on nagging me for a while was that I would not be able to take my wife and kids to see her. They won't witness her. But then again, I try to be appreciative that I got to witness her. Says Mama Anwar. Here I stand again at your door, Mama. Take away my anguish in your wise smile. Every little stance I take is in your remembrance. Every feet along my way is in your honor. And then my delight, your bright memory never leaves sight. My white dove, my love, you live on in the hearts of your fine extensions. The next one is called Big Mustafa, and we used to call him, we didn't call him Big Mustafa, but we called him what the equivalent of that in Arabic. The way that houses are built in places like Sudan is, the house is built a large, but it's the big family house. So multiple, you would have your grandparents, and then you'd have your different uncles with their families and different sections of the same place. So Mustafa used to, from when I was like this, I would go there, and he's helping my grandmother, and I mean, he's as much of a part of the family as I am, really, in a sense. And sometimes we would talk, okay, I hope they're doing well, I hope he's doing well, how is he doing, what did they do in the war, and everything that's going on back home right now. And then one day I'm calling my parents, and my mother tells me that he passed away. And the idea I took from that and kind of made substantial was that it was in passing. Even the news, I got the news in passing. To articulate when someone very close dies, usually my parents are like, "Oh, you have to call his relatives. He died. Do it, please," and whatever. But in his case, and admittedly so, it felt as if he wasn't as appreciated as he should have been. Yeah. So this is his tribute, basically. In passing, I get the news. In passing, just as in his life, in the periphery of focus he lies, blurred, chosen with grand subtlety that's often lost, and remembered a servant, not a host, though he had known my family longer than I did. patience.
How did you choose the music that you've paired with your,
Oh, that's all his.
yeah?
Yeah.
Did you guys get together to like collaborate to choose the music, or did you just read the poems and then it inspired you to come up with it?
Yeah, we kind of had a rehearsal, and we tried to find some words and adjectives to describe the emotion about the poem. And I'm trying to transpress that through my violin, but yeah, it's a kind of tricky, but I'm trying. Yeah.
It's not rigid. It's mostly improvisational.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But what he was
Fine.
mentioning, we have the list here. So we worked on it yesterday, and then he told me, well, write what you want next to each one. So I basically wrote generic, happy, sad, very sad, stuff like that. And he has the book as well, so you'd kind of figure it out. And now, as I see, you have G major. What is this?
It worked very well for being a
No, it's so cool.
yeah.
There's seats up in front if anybody wants to come.
There's
and
3
sit.
of them. There's
Yeah,
4 of them.
There are 4 seats if anyone wants to move up.
Rock, paper, scissors is also a really good way to find out.
Don't worry, it's not a stand-up comedy show. You won't be picked on.
Yes.
I have a question about
Yeah.
writers as rewriters. Like a lot of writers see themselves not as someone who writes, but someone who edits writing. That
Okay.
they maybe consider their own or consider something was speaking through them as a vessel, and then they just edit this thing that came from their pen. What's kind of your relationship to editing or rewriting or your process?
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes you write something that flows. It just works. Okay, first take or second take, it's good. But most of the times, 90% of the times, you have to write it and then go and come back and kind of look at it and edit if you want it to be good, basically. In my case, and the editing is not fun, but you have to. There was a writer who had not a textbook, but like a list of instructions, and I like what he said at the end. It was like, you want to write something that you would appreciate while you're drunk and also appreciate while you're sober. Because when you write, sometimes it seems too good to you at the moment, but you go and you come back again, it's like, this needs work. So it's a process, and it's not the same for every piece, yeah. Yeah.
Are you working on
Directly.
anything else right now? Or are there any particular themes with what's happening right now in the world that you?
I was talking to a friend. I think I was talking to my dad, and I mentioned that I'm failing to make the cross to prose. That's what I want to do, but it's too much work. Poetry is easier. It's more direct, more raw. Yeah. But we'll see.
Is prose just more like monologuing? What's
No, like fiction or yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I started a long time ago. I was working at an office that would dictate my being there for a long portion of the day, but I found myself not doing anything. So I began to write then, and the idea was, okay, you get a novel out of it. But halfway through, I stopped, and then it never materialized. I decided, okay, I'm gonna do something a little shorter. Let's try a novella. And I'm always careful with the word count, that you have enough material, and that never happened either. Then I thought to myself, okay, well, we can start with short stories. And it's in the process. I see it in the future, but yeah. Okay. Okay, the last part is shorter than the previous two. I'm gonna, okay. I'll skip the book of self-awareness. I'll read from the book of Grand Modists, and I think it was usually if you ask me what are Grand Modists. Yeah. One of the realizations I came across was that there are people who, within their environment, within their means, all through their lives, they never gotten a chance to amount to the appreciation that they inherently deserve just by the way they go about their daily business. And their daily business can be cleaning toilets. That is their daily business, and they well may be very, very, very precious people, but nobody cares, nobody notices. Maybe some people care, but yeah, it's hard for someone to notice. So I'm gonna read a couple of pieces from the chapter. One is called Al-Daw, and Al-Daw is a name in Arabic. Al-Daw, it means the light. And he was one of the custodians in my undergrad campus back home. And no matter what time of the day I went there, sometimes I would go early in the morning, 7 a.m. to have a lecture or something. And it's a gated campus, so I go in. He's there, sweeping, taking the trash, wiping. By the time I'm done with my lecture, my lecture is at 4 or something, he's gathering the recyclables from the trash, from each trash one by one, and arranging them, because he sells them, and he gets something out of that. When I'm leaving campus, if it's like 7 p.m., he's still there, and I remember approaching him and trying to befriend him, and he was so appreciative, and he was surprised, and I'm sad at his surprise, because there was nothing. I just talked to the guy. I didn't do anything special. What he thought of it that way. Now I really pray he's safe. He's in a good place. Before I read the poem, I'll go ahead and read the quote to go along with the Book of Grand Modists, and it's a quote that I appreciate very much. It's been in my favorite quote list for years now. It's by Charles Dickens, and it actually describes the emotions I was trying not very well to articulate previously. It says, sadly the sun rose. It rose upon no sadder sight than the man of good abilities and good emotions, incapable of their directed exercise, incapable of his own help and his own happiness, sensible of the blight on him, and resigning himself to let it eat him away. So yeah, this is a book. I recall your figure, I remember your warm smile. The image is distorted at the present time, but the heart pounds with the vehement sensations leading the way to a hopeful prayer. The extraterrestrial God is watching in my faithful plea. Will let him be, Lord, for you know he is a grand man in a peasant suit. The other one is called Windshields, and it's about a little boy when I used to also go back home from my campus back home. He would be situated next to a stoplight along my way, and it's not common in Sudan at that point of time to have people like him. He would wipe the windshields, just anything. He's basically begging for change. He stands out to me because he was always smiling. I'd be coming home, what a tough day, I'm exhausted, life sucks. And I'd see him and he would be standing in the sun with a little wipe and a bucket, and he would be smiling. And he's probably in middle school, or he's supposed to be in middle school. So yeah, Windshield, this is his tribute. Sunny afternoon, fumes of racing cars fill the air. What kids on the sidewalk go through, I do not really bear. But we clash softly. On our shared affair, wipe my windshield in diligence futile, and charm me with your patient smile. I do what I may to oversee the trial, but I still feel guilty without committing any vile. So for the last one, I think free is better than patience, right? We're doing free. So this one, it's from one of the previous chapters. I was putting it at the end and then thinking that if I removed a couple from within, I may reach down to it. It's a very light kind of stanza, and it's really on the concept of real freedom, and particularly when looking at birds flying around. It kind of humbles you in a sense, I guess. Joe, this one I wrote in one take to answer your question. So, I mean, sometimes it happens, but yeah. Okay. Free. Two birds conversed through moonlit eve before migration north. They had no plan for food. They moved without passports. Each day in a land, each night in a sky, could I at will one day fly.
Thank you.
Encore.
Any questions before we do the signing?
No, we're gonna. Do you think that custodian knows?
What's the most inspiring thing that makes you to start writing, and the concept of word or anything?
I think it's the realization that no matter what I do, there are most things really are out of my control. And then although it sounds melodramatic, but the sense that I'm insignificant. We're all insignificant. It reaches a point where you just acknowledge that we spend our time and then we leave. Yeah. So that's probably the most recurring theme. Sometimes I feel like my expression can bridge the gap if the ideas are so abstract. Once I put them in a medium, it kind of helps. But generally speaking, it's just an outlet. My dad always complains. He tells me, write something happy, write something cheerful. Why is your poetry so dark? And I mean, I can't. This is it. This is what I have. Yeah.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you again to Confluence Books, to Farrell, to Kathy and to Sarah. Thank you Bushra, thank you Gabriel for playing. And thank you to each and every one of you who showed up on a Sunday afternoon. Yeah, we're really grateful that you're all here. Thanks so much.
Go Saba!
And thank you to Shruti for documenting and directing.
Is it like babysitting?
No.
You can sing.